Welcome to today's episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Here's the question for today. How can I fix my playing? I think it has a lot of noise, it's quite dirty sounding. That's actually a very important question and a very important subject, and I'm very glad you asked about that. First of all, I must commend you on the fact that you are actually bothering to listen to your playing. You'll be very surprised if you found out how few guitarists do that. Most of them will make a backwards rationalization that, this rocks, dude, and it's what the rock guitar is supposed to sound like and things like that. And this is really not the case. When you're playing, your guitar sound should be very, very clean. And I don't mean about the sound that comes out of the machine. I mean, you should not have any string noise when you're playing. If you play a chord or if you play a scale, you should only be listening, you should only be able to hear the notes of that chord or of that scale. We don't want the extraneous string noise that's very, very usual. And many people fall into this trap. They think that this is what the rock guitar is supposed to sound like, and it's really not. So, first things first, by all means, you are right. Pay attention to the sound of your playing and make sure that you don't have enough noise, and having this noise is actually unacceptable because it's bad technique, it's bad, it sounds bad. Unfortunately, the first time that most people will understand that their playing is very noisy, it's going to be when they go into a studio to record something, and by that time it's quite late. They cannot really do anything to develop their technique while they're recording or while they're playing. This is something that has to be taken care of when you're practicing. So let's see now what you can do to develop this part of your playing and have way less noise. And I will give you 3 specific pieces of advice, 3 methods to follow. Now, these methods are going to be in addition to developing your muting technique, and I have created several videos on that subject on my channel. So please, I would highly suggest and recommend that you take the time to watch and listen to one of those videos. But once you're starting to do that, I'll give you 3 more methods to follow. So let's get started. Number 1, your point of reference when you're playing should not be your fingers. It should be the sound coming out of your amplifier or the speakers. Most guitar players make this mistake. The brain gives to their fingers the command to do something, they execute the movement, and then they say, yep, that's what it is. I did a great job, let's go home now. This is not what you should be doing. You should be able to get your feedback from audio, from listening to the sound that comes out of your amplifier, not just from watching your fingers. An excellent way to develop that, so that it can give you something actionable, is to play either with your eyes closed or without looking at your fingers on the guitar. Because at that point, you stop your visual stimuli and now you're just listening, so the stimuli is only from audio. Now you can actually concentrate on the sound that is coming out of the amplifier or the speakers. This is one of the best ways to start understanding if your playing is clean or if you have a lot of string noise. But in order to do that, you have to start listening to the sound that comes out of the speakers or the amplifier. Method number 2, obviously, start recording yourself. It's very, very difficult to be objective while you're playing, because you're happy or unhappy that you made something happen technically or that you didn't, and you're very much emotionally involved in the playing. Plus, most of your faculties, the processing power of your brain is involved in playing and not in listening for extra noise. The best way to figure out if you are having this extra noise is to record yourself. Now, you don't have to actually go to a studio to do that. You can use your cell phone, or you can use an USB microphone that records everything you play and records it on the PC, and then just listen to your playing a little bit critically afterwards. And you will be able to figure out if your playing is cleaning up or not. And now let's go to advice number 3, the third method, and this is something that I tell all my students to do immediately as soon as we start working together. You have to minimize the effects on your sound. Now, since we're talking about string noise, we're obviously talking about distorting guitar, so you're not going to take off the distortion. But what I would suggest is to dial down, way down, effects like delay, reverb, chorus, flanger, all these kind of things. Just take them out of your sound and just keep the regular distortion and maybe a little bit of reverb to make it sound more pleasant to the ear, but no more than that. This way, your sound is going to be as raw as possible, as pure as possible, and you both when listening to it and when recording it, to listen to it afterwards, you'll be able to figure out if your playing is clean or not. Probably the most important thing over here is to understand that it is unacceptable in every way for your playing to have a lot of noise. This is not a prerequisite for a good rock guitar sound. The proper rock and metal guitar sound has this noise, but only whenever you want. So if you want it to sound more sleazy or more like down home, then you can add on purpose this noise. But the vast majority of your playing should be as clean as possible without any extra noise. Once again, I urge you to have a look at my videos in my channel about how to mute properly and how to have very clean playing, because these are going to help you with the specific technical ways, like how do you mute with the left hand, how do you mute the right hand, how you mute the strings below the string you're playing, and how do you mute the strings above the ones you're playing. But the important thing here is to understand that it is not okay to have noise in your playing, and believe me when I say that if you ignore it now, it's going to come back to haunt you very quickly. So that's all for this subject. I hope this was helpful. Keep those questions coming, and I'll see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach.